Hi everyone, welcome to the LiveTalk live stream. EyeJax with us, Sahbi with us, guest Yaiderenko with us. And look, I'm not gonna spill the beans, but I have to. Sorry we're late. Yaiderenko had technical issues, right?
Sorry.
Are you still with us? Admit it, man. All right, no, it's fine. Guys, thank you for joining. We're gonna talk today about Blind. We have to talk about Blind. He had an interview on Saturday, which was about the Dutch squad, but also a little bit about Ajax as well. He didn't want to talk about Ajax, basically. We're going to touch upon that and also what he did in the last few weeks. It wasn't his best period, to be honest. I mean, there are a lot of players that didn't play well, but let's touch upon Blind. And then after that, we'll touch upon the World Cup, which we were supposed to talk about last week, but we didn't have a chance to do so. You guys know the drill. It's a live stream. You guys can ask us questions, drop a comment, let us know you're there, engage with us. That's what we want. And let's start. Oh, and if you're new, please subscribe and like. We very much appreciate that as well. Big up to the moderator, IFK500. He will be in the chat as well. And my first question will be, of course, to our guest, Yaiderenko. Yaiderenko, thank you for being here. Blind, listen. We all know that Blind is like a hot topic, hot potato discussion always. And this season, he has been struggling. Our defense has been struggling, and he as well. And he's played every game, basically. And then all of a sudden, the Rangers game, he gets benched. And he plays, actually, he doesn't play anymore. And he starts as a bench player for a couple of games. And now Wendell is the first choice. And even when Wendell got injured during the game with Rangers, Wrench was chosen to play there instead of Blind. So there's a lot of rumor going on that there's something between him and Schreuder. He doesn't look too happy. If you look at the interview he had about Oranje, about the Dutch squad, they touched upon Ajax. He didn't want to talk about it. You felt he's triggered. He doesn't want to talk about Ajax. In general, what's your view on this whole situation with Blind, Yaiderenko?
I think we covered it in a previous talk months and months ago. I was afraid that Blind would get in trouble staying in the first team, and that it could damage his image, and I think it does. And I think his reaction is. I'm not too upset about the interview, the last interview, but in earlier stages when the audience was giving signals that he needs to step up, his reaction was a bit childish in my opinion. You would hope a little bit more professional approach when that happens, because he didn't play well. I don't know if there was one game that he really played well this season.
Yeah.
Really played well.
Yeah, look, you're touching also about the fact that he didn't give interviews at the end prior to the Orange call-up. So he didn't give interviews. He didn't want to give interviews, basically. There's always been like this love-hate relationship between the fans and Blind. At least that's what he's saying. When he came up, you remember he got whistled when he was young, and he went to Groningen first, came back, and then things started picking up better for him. And now also you feel that also last season he loves the fans, but also he thinks he's being criticized too much. Even Klaassen said that, by the way, in an interview, that they feel like they're being criticized too much by the fans. What's your opinion on that?
But both Klaassen and Blind need to realize where they play. They should know better. They know Ajax by heart. They know how the audience is expecting a little bit more from the young players, and that's basically it. You know how we are as a fan. We're critical, but we carry you on our hands when you do well.
Yeah. All right.
And that was the case with Blind before he left to Groningen, and when he came back, he was marveled. So
yeah, but
I don't see the problem.
Yeah, but probably he has a chip on his shoulder because of that. And he has built up on that. And now he feels like there's this love and hate relationship between the fans and him that he's not appreciated. I mean, let me go to Sahbi to see what he thinks about this whole situation. What's your opinion, Sahbi?
Yeah, I mean, as we all know, Daley is a child of the club. We love him for the things that he has done for us. He's loyal to the club, to the fans. But overall, we need to look. We should not only look at the player himself as an individual, but as a player. And he disappointed us too much this year. He decreased a lot in quality. Defending is very sloppy, making a lot of errors. So at the end, I think already it was already a bit late that he was benched. In my view, he should have been benched way sooner. I'm not saying he should have been transferred or sold, but we should have given other players an opportunity to play, because he was a liability.
Okay.
So from that perspective,
yeah, let me go on that. Let me go on what you're saying. So
yeah,
you say I mean, we touched upon that in the channel as well,
Yeah.
multiple times with different guests as well, and you guys as well. But if you say, I feel like he had to be benched earlier, if you look at the other players that are getting an opportunity right now, we've seen Randall there, we've seen Bassi a few times there, and we've seen Wrench there. Any of those three players, do you feel they're better than Blind on that position?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Wrench a lot on the left back. He played only a couple of games, but he did well. He did quite well when he played there. I mean, we all know Blind. Blind is famous for his build-up, but we haven't seen that. We already know he is very bad in defending, and we saw that a lot. So what was his added value in his last couple of months? That's the thing that we need to think about. And we need to make a conclusion that it was poor. It was bad. In the build-up, he didn't do that well. Well, the whole team didn't do well, but everybody puts the responsibility on Blind because he has that extra to perform during the build-up. But it wasn't there. And you can blame Schreuder probably for that. But at the end, it's also the player himself. We all saw that a bit last year, and now it's continuing to be this way. So I would rather have Wrench playing there, still playing there, than Blind getting back into the squad. And next to that, based on that interview, where he said that he didn't want to confirm whether he would come back, I mean, in my view, his contract will not be extended, and I don't think he wants to stay as well. I mean, he's been benched, and I don't think Schreuder will turn 180 degrees and then starting him all over again. He already told us during the interview that he was really happy that he came back to the Dutch squad because it's a closed. The team is very close, which would mean that it's a mess at Ajax. There's a lot of issues internally, so that should say something. So we need to be that he will not be a disturbing factor when he comes back.
Yeah, I have to go to EyeJax. Everything that has been said about by Yaiderenko and Sahbi to this point. Do you have something to add? Do you agree with them? Is there anything else you want to say about this whole situation with Blind?
Yeah, I agree with them, but I think it's not sensible to play him at this moment in time, with all things going on within our squad. And we touched upon this in earlier talks. I touched upon it. There's too much going on in the defense. There's no stability there, and you have to sacrifice a lot to implement Blind in your team. He, in normal form, brings you passing ability. But we cannot sacrifice several people within the squad that is not playing well together, is not gelling, to implement Blind, because besides his passing ability, there's a lot of things that he does not well. And he didn't in the past, but he was better at it. But now he's also getting old. So it's quite difficult. For me, I would opt for other players there because the team needs to gel together first. And I think he will always be a liability if you implement him within the team. And last season with Martinez, Timber, and Alvarez playing very well together, you could cover that a little bit more. Also with the team up front playing better combination football together, especially on that right side, you had some more
Relief.
versatility and balance within the team, and we haven't this season.
Do you agree with Sahbi EyeJax that we know that his contract situation is his last season? It will expire in the summer, but there is an extension option. Do you see it the same way as Sahbi, that you don't see him staying longer, or do you think like it all depends on how things evolve with Schreuder? Do you think also, by the way, that Blind is maybe that type of player that will accept being a rotational player?
No, I think it's all up to Blind, because I think it's crystal clear that he's not being used as a first 11 player anymore, because this showed in the last matches under Schreuder. So if he is able to accept that he will be a rotation player and maybe will not start all those matches anymore, then you could have a mutual agreement to extend. But otherwise, if that is not his wish, I would grant him a move elsewhere, because he's a big player of our club also in the past and all he has achieved. And I think we should think what we can also do for him, Same with Tagliafico's situation at a certain point. They've been at our club so long. So if their wish is to move on and maybe play first 11 elsewhere, we should grant him that.
Okay,
because he's not the first 11 in my eyes anymore.
Yeah, before we go to the chats, if people have questions or remarks, just quickly, a brief round. First question, do you guys feel like Blind doesn't have what it takes anymore to bring value to the team? Is that because that's what I'm sensing you guys saying, all three of you? EyeJax, you? What's your opinion?
No, that's not what I'm saying. He
Okay.
could have value for our team, but we do not have the luxury to sacrifice players for him to cover for his liabilities.
Okay.
While we had a great team last seasons where it was possible because everything was gelling together, you have like a certain luxury that you can use an other player to cover up for him. But we do not have the luxury because the whole defense is lacking a lot at the moment. And not only defense, but several positions within the team.
So you're saying he cannot bring what he can bring because of the situation in which we are in right now?
Yes, Blind can be terrific for us, but only if you have the luxury to sacrifice other players to cover for his liabilities. And we do not have that luxury at the moment because we have a hard enough time playing 11 players at the moment and trying to play good football. So we do not have the luxury to sacrifice anybody to help him out in that area of the game.
All right. Sahbi, Yaiderenko, both? You guys agree with EyeJax or different view on this? EyeJax? Yaiderenko?
No, I agree, and you know what I said. I would have said goodbye in summer, so I won't extend him.
The thing is, I'm going to be honest, right? There's something not sitting. I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with you guys, but it's so weird to me that he plays everything, literally everything, until the Liverpool game, basically the second Liverpool game that we played in the Champions League. Then we had that weekend that we didn't play Vitesse, because we asked to be extended because we had to prepare for Rangers. We all know how that went. So, and then the Rangers game, all of a sudden he gets benched. And we're saying he didn't deliver. Sahbi said that he's not delivering, and I agree, he's not having his best season. But if we look at another veteran, Tadic, he's not having his best season either. But Tadic is not being benched. Tadic is still playing. He's still playing him on the left side now or the right side. Tadic is not. I mean, he got benched maybe once, maybe because of fatigue or something like that. But what's the difference then if they both are not having the best season?
But you're comparing apples with oranges, and I will explain to you why. Tadic has been misused on a position that is not his own. At several games this season, and he can still be of value at that left position, at that left winger position. And the thing is with Tadic, it's not a position that if something goes wrong there, that it is as bad as it happens in the position of Blind. And also, take into consideration, although they did pretty well last season, he also has to link up with Blind on that left side, so he does not have a like speedy kind of player like Masraoui was, that can play combination football, that you can have a tandem with. So it's a difficult side for him to play on. But I think still Tadic still in the form that he has on his natural position, he can still hold his own. Maybe he's not as good as he was like 2-3 years ago, but he can still hold his own in a team that is clicking. And Blind always needs help, and that is something Tadic doesn't need.
Yeah, but next to that, he brings also an added value in captaincy. I mean, he brings leadership towards the team. He tries something at least.
Don't you think Blind is a leader as well in the dressing room?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. He basically said himself that he's not a speaker. He doesn't speak out in the dressing room. He gives tips on how to play, but he doesn't really motivate or scream or picking players, etc. That's what Tadic does. So he does have some sort of add value, Tadic, even though he's not playing that well.
All right. We have to go to the chats.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, go ahead.
I will highlight some of them. First of all, I highlighted them quickly, but people like that our second live stream is here, as do we. So thank you all for tuning in. Same with our fan from America, Alan. Welcome, bro. Thank you for the comment. Then for the subject, Daley Blind, Ilya said that we should not be playing him as left back. So that's something that we can agree on.
Let's touch upon that briefly. I mean, I know Sneijder not so long ago came with the idea of maybe trying him out again on the midfield. What's your opinion on that, Sahbi?
Well, it's a way better position than the center back position. We all know left back is also a difficult one. In the past, we already said like midfield is not his greatest position to play in, but in the Eredivisie, it can be something that you can try. If you look at Europa League or Champions League, I think it will be too fast for him. The level of intensity will be too fast. He can't run that much or that fast. So I wouldn't put him in midfield when we play in Europe, but he can be of added value in midfield when we play against a team that is parking the bus or at least giving some space, because from that perspective, he can use his passing ability to move the play forward. But the big matches, so to say, I don't think he's capable of playing there well.
I think Dan agrees with you there, Sahbi.
Yeah, I want Yaiderenko's opinion on this as well. Midfield or Blind, Yaiderenko, your opinion?
No. He proved he's even more of a liability in the center. Doesn't really matter if it's on the midfield or in the defense. So no. He just shouldn't be playing at Ajax. Period. Maybe if there's a friendly game or something like that, but his time is over at Ajax, in my opinion. Yeah.
All right, that's clear. Sorry, EyeJax, go ahead.
That's the same as Dan was stating. He's done a lot for the club, and huge respect for him, of course. But garbage minutes, maybe that's a little bit of an overstatement, but give him some minutes in the games that it's possible, to play him in. And he also said, let his contract run out unless he can take a big part. I think he wants to say a big part role helping younger players out. So
this is very interesting also from Dan. Thank you for the comment, by the way, and it's very much appreciated. I read somewhere, I don't know where I read it, but it was an article. Football International. It was an article from Freek Jansen, and he said Ajax is looking to buy players or sign players in the January window, which is always something that Yaiderenko loves to hear, by the way. And but the other thing I wanted to say, he also said something very interesting. He wrote that Ajax is looking to dispose or get rid of players that has no added value. Ocampos was being mentioned, but also, and this is very interesting, that are disruptors. We touched upon that the previous time as well. Do you guys think Daley is in that category, or am I fishing now in the wrong?
No, he can be. He can be. I mean, based on the interview, he definitely can be.
All right. I just like my translation. That's good. All right, go ahead. Are there more or more?
There are some more. Alan stated, just don't know who else would go there. Baas isn't ready, I don't think, but who knows? Yeah, maybe Rens can play there, or even Maybe a good bridge to another question, even Bessie maybe, because
there's getting opportunity right now. So.
Yeah, this fan from Scotland, a viewer, he says, yeah, what position do you guys think Bessie should play in? The back four at Ajax. I'm originally from Scotland, so saw him play quite a bit for Rangers as a left back.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's also an opportunity to play at that position. So yeah.
But Schroeder did try him a few times, not a lot, but a few times on the left back position. What did you guys think about that? What's your opinion on Bessie playing at the left back at Ajax, Sahbi?
Well, he played most of his matches in at Rangers as left back.
Sure.
In natural squad in Nigeria, he's playing as left back. So he can use his speed when he plays as left back. He has quite a few great high passes. So I think he can do better as left back than as a center back, because at Ajax we mostly build up through the center, and we all know his passing ability or his build-up ability. That's something that he really needs to develop, and that's currently we don't have the time to develop at this stage. So he might opt for the left back position, but then we got Wijndal, we got Rens. So there are so many players at left back. It's difficult. We need some additional players for the center. That's something that's for sure.
Well, another thing that also plays a part, I think, Yaiderenko, in Bessie, where he has to play, there's no real backup for Bessie in the center next to Timber, because Schroeder tried in a Napoli game. He tried Blind as a center back. That went horribly wrong, obviously. But what's your opinion on Bessie's role? Do you think he has to play as a center back, develop him there, or maybe more left back? Yaiderenko.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
If I don't look at Ajax and just look at where Bessie could fit the best within Ajax, I think left back is his position, and especially when you press. If you play forward and bring speed into the game, his lack of full control and full passing,
composure,
could be disguised a little bit better, and he's very strong in duels, and he has a drive to walk over opponents. So I think it's ideal for a left back, just like Masrohi sometimes did. He went over flying to the right front position or through the center, and it's a nightmare for opponents to deal with. But if you let him play like he's a superstar, so like Real Madrid, building up really slowly, looking for the chance, waiting for that couple of inches of room and then nailing it. He's not that kind of player. He never will be. I think you should use him in his best possibilities, just like Karud. Don't use him as a striker. Use him in his best position and his best capabilities.
Let me ask you guys a question. So if let's say Bessie fits more the LB position, I don't know if Ajax agrees with this as well, or do you see him more as a center back?
Yeah, it all depends on the sufficient backup we have, but I liked him as a left back. As a left back, and
do you think that's his natural position? Like
I do. Yeah, I do think so because he's lacking a few things also that's needed as a central defender. But I'm still very curious to see what Kaplan can bring to the team, because he was brought in with a certain vision behind it, and also as a central defender. But unfortunately, due to injuries and maybe also due to Schroeder, I don't know what the full extent of his lack of minutes is, but a lot has to do with injury. I would love to see him at that position also, because we've heard quite some good things about him also in the podcast that you had with the Turkish fans. So I'm very curious what he can bring to the team, and if it's not turning out to be another Magayan, because I still have high hopes for him to add something to the team, and if that's possible, Bessie could maybe move to that left back position. So all has to do with the sufficient backup that we need in the team, and also if we go onto the transfer market in the January window, because this is something also crucial.
So let me get this straight. You guys say, basically all three of you are saying Bessie naturally fits more for Ajax as a left back. So you all agree with this. So if I'm counting the left back that we have, the options that we have in this team, it's Bessie, it's Rensch, because he's being used there, so I'll go with it. It's Wijndal, it's Baas, it's Blind. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Just to be clear on this. Okay. Ajax, go ahead if there are any other comments.
There are some. Cannot handle all of them or show all of them, but somebody also about Blind posted that. Let me pull it up.
Sure.
What about him and Edson Alvarez as a double pivot? And additionally, this also is part of the question, allows to push the fullbacks up and the wingers to tuck inside the stands. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I will say this though, and I know it's been a while now. You guys remember we played Europa League against Lille, and I think
I think say that.
Yeah, no, because Gravenberg was I think suspended for that game. I remember it was the first game. I think the game in France.
Where Brobbey scored the winner.
Yeah, exactly. And there we played with a double pivot with Alvarez and Blind, and it worked out tremendously. Though I have to say that Lille played with two strikers, so they didn't play with three, so it's a little bit different. But Lille at that time was really dangerous. In like if they get the ball or repossess the ball, their counterattack was really good. But I was impressed with that double pivot. Alvarez and Blind together might work. But if Alvarez is not there, might be difficult. That's my opinion. What do you guys think, Sahbi?
No, you're absolutely right on this. 100.
You never agree with me, man. That's not
Yeah,
possible.
that's why. I need to memorize this moment.
All right. EyeJax, do you see it differently or do you agree as well?
It's
You know that Yaiderenko said it doesn't matter, midfield is not an option. So
no, but I do not like him as a midfield option, to be honest, because he failed there also several times. And like I said before, in a team that is in transition with a lot of new players within the team, there should be a strong fundament first to build upon. And I think Blind should have the help of Alvarez if he plays in the pivot, but he also should have a strong central defensive duo behind him, like last year with Martinez and Timber. And we're still very fragile in that position. So it's not my preference.
all right. Any other, because we have to talk about the World Cup.
We have a question from Dr. Doof.
Yes.
What do you think of the new guys, Sanchez, Luka, and Ocampos? Question from him.
We'll split it. Let me ask Yaiderenko about Sanchez. Then Sahbi can talk about Luka. EyeJax, you can talk about Ocampos.
Thanks.
Take it away.
I can do all three in one sentence. They don't fit the Ajax level.
All right, that's clear. But okay. Let me be the devil's advocate here quickly, Yaiderenko. Sanchez, we've seen quite a bit. Luka has had quite a bit of an impact in the last few games. Ocampos, we haven't seen him play, basically. So how can you say of all three and put them all in the same category and say no?
What I've seen of Ocampos is that there's a reason he doesn't play.
Okay. All right. So those 100 minutes that you saw, laser-eyed, focus, you knew already this is nothing. It's not going to be anything for this team.
Yeah, especially if you have what's the little guy's name?
Chico. Yeah. Chico. All right. Cool.
If you have those kind of skills in the team, and if he delivers, we have to see if he can. But he has something.
Yeah.
And Ocampos doesn't have that.
I don't agree on the Luka part. I mean, Luka, we know his role. I mean, he's not a starter. He was not brought in as a starter. But every time he comes in, there is some sort of impact. He can score goals. He can win headers. So for his specific role, why we got him, I think he's doing quite well. And he scores.
Sure,
goals
sure.
as
But
well.
we are Ajax. We have Bergkamp, we have Cruyff, we have Van
Yeah, but
Basten.
those are starters, as I said.
Come on.
Yeah, but those are starters. I mean,
Almost 2 meters, and he cannot even deliver a decent header. Although his last goal was quite good with his head, but in the beginning, what was he doing with his head?
I
I think
feel
he's
a
developing
little.
quite okay, to be honest.
I feel a little bit discriminated with being over 2 meters myself. What's wrong with it? I can head it also.
There's nothing wrong, but then you have to develop your skill to master the aerial space, and he doesn't.
Yeah,
And he did have a nice header in the last. Was the last game or the game before, or I don't know which game it was.
PSV.
Yeah, he had nice headers, but he's not a bit like Haller. If you're that big and that tall, you expect to win every ball, and he just doesn't.
But with all due respect, Haller fumbled a lot also with long balls, being more on the ground than winning those duels. But I think personally, you're being a little bit harsh on Luka. I can understand the other two, because Sanchez hasn't been great, and I think he lacks the ability to play nice combination football, and he makes a lot of fouls to cover up for the space that he gives away. But with Luka, the limited minutes he got, because it's always 15 minutes tops, 8 minutes tops, something has to be forced. He was successful twice. He scored against PSV, giving us a fighting chance. He scored again against Vitesse with a very important equalizer. So one could argue it may not have seen. He may not have been the most. How do you say it? Like a player that is very beautiful to watch, but it's difficult to play like that in a crowded place with a lot of players cramped together.
But I'm not saying he's not doing a good job. I think from his perspective and with his skills, he does okay at this level, because it's clearly a bit above his level, and he just reminds me a bit of Van Loon or Van Vossen, which were also not typical Ajax player, and he just isn't a typical Ajax player.
Yeah, I think also maybe we didn't really touch upon this, but if you look at those three players, I think we also have to look at why they were brought in. I think Luka is something else at Ocampos, in certain ways. But okay, we touched upon that. We're running a little bit out of time. We still have to
we have a lot of questions still remaining. So tell me what you want to do. You want to continue doing questions? Do you want to go to a little bit of World Cup discussion?
Yeah, we have to.
Or do you want to bridge towards the World Cup, maybe? Because I have something that can help us go towards that topic.
Sure. Let's go to the World Cup. I know we cannot answer all the questions, but we do appreciate the engagement. So please keep them coming. Let's talk about the World Cup a little bit. Show us the bridge. Show us the bridge.
Yeah. One moment. It's a lot of scrolling. Let me check. Yeah, here today, of course, Portugal. It's not the wet time. It's wrong time that he wanted to say. He also added it afterwards. So Kudus was unlucky tonight, being taken off at the wrong time. Portugal against Ghana, of course, just finished 3-2 win for Portugal. Very close one. And to stay on that topic, I think it was Sivan who asked, let me check. He says, first of all, a big up to the content. Thank you.
Big up to you,
and also what did he ask about Kudus? Let me check.
Okay, but
it was something that should we do everything in our power to keep him at the club? So
wishful thinking, in my opinion, honestly, because I think he has already set his mind to leave. I think honestly, we're talking about. The funny thing is, I've heard a lot of people say, and also like the pundits. Today, I read something of Sonny Siloy also saying it's a rebuild season. The funny thing is, next year we'll have a new goalkeeper. Kudus will be leaving. Probably Timber will be leaving. So. Alvarez will be leaving maybe in the January window. People are talking about it. So you're already going to miss 4 pivotal players, starting 11 players. So if this is a rebuild season,
what's next season?
So yeah, I don't know. It's
The rebuild of the rebuild season.
It's a first stage rebuild. Next year it will be a second stage rebuild. Anyways, let's talk about the World Cup, guys. And EyeJax, I'll give you the time to if you see some World Cup questions or anything, just bring them up. And we'll
thank you all guys for all the questions, but we have limited time, so we cannot.
Sahbi, let me go with you. Yeah, let me go with you. The World Cup. So I don't know if you had a chance to watch a lot of games. Some of the games, of course, during the day we have to work. So any game that impressed you so far, a team that impressed you, the one that gave you the X factor, wow factor, which game was that so far?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about the Saudi Arabia game against Argentina, the way they pressed and so on. So that game impressed me. But I mean, if there's one game where a nation really impressed me, that's Canada.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, they can play ball. They really they embarrassed Belgium in the way they played. They should have gotten several penalties, huge chances. I mean, so unfortunate. They deserved a lot more against Belgium.
I think the biggest compliment was when De Bruyne got the award. And he was not happy with the award. He said, "Yeah, I don't know why I got it. Maybe because of my name, but we didn't play well, so I'm not happy."
Exactly.
That's a big compliment. EyeJax, let me touch upon you. Let's go to the Dutch squad a little bit.
Why are you asking me, bro?
Why? What do you mean?
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Against Senegal, the Dutch squad. Did you like the game? Were you nervous? Are you happy with the result, with the performance overall?
I think nervous is the right word, Juan. The players were nervous. It looked like they were not on their A game, like the first 70, 80 minutes, like being held down by nerves, You could see they could not shake it off. And things started to improve a little bit towards the end of the game. But it was a sloppy game, not seeing the squad play as I would love to see them play. And even Van Gaal stated after the game that he tried everything to put their mind at ease. I believe he said that last time that he brought the family towards the hotel, that in a previous World Cup. This time he brought them to the beach and they all drank a coffee or something, like a relaxed time before the game has to be played. But he said it didn't help, and you could see they were nervous. And that was exactly what you could see within the game. They were sloppy within the build-up play. There was a lot of, sloppiness from both sides on the midfield. Even Senegal was sometimes a little bit dangerous with their attempts. No big chances, but still they were present. Some opponents in the World Cup, do not do anything. But you could see with Senegal, if you lose control a little bit more, they could be of some danger. And I think we were lucky that Mané wasn't there, because he makes a difference in that team. Yeah. So in the end, I was very happy with the win, because we see what other big teams have done after the Dutch squad. With Messi losing with Argentina against Saudi Arabia, with the German squad losing yesterday. There are some big upsets within the tournament, and it isn't a walk in the park to get those first 3 points. So the guys being able to do that and bring the 3 points back for the team and keep the first place within that group, this is great, And I have to give props to also Gakpo for that goal. It was a great pass by Frankie, who had a difficult time in the midfield. You could see that he had to do it all, and he wasn't able to do the Frankie style that we are used to see of him. But the way he gave that pass and the way Gakpo came in front of that keeper, he was just a little bit earlier there and flicked the ball. It was great, and that was a great goal.
The movement of Gakpo run was also
terrific.
Let me ask you maybe a silly question, right? I was thinking about that also because EyeJax was saying, we were sloppy at times, maybe nervous and these kind of things, and Van Gaal tried everything to ease them a little bit. Maybe a silly question from my side, but that Van Gaal, he wasn't embarrassed to say, what, maybe I'm one of the few coaches that will say it. We're going to become world champions. I can feel it, we're really going for the world champions, and we'll do everything we can to become world champions. Do you think this is a good thing to do? Do you think like maybe this gives extra pressure to the players? That's my silly question, basically. Sahbi.
Silly boy.
No, Sahbi, no silly answers. Go ahead. Come on.
Okay. No, I don't think so. I mean, he basically takes up all the responsibility. He moves the pressure from the players, and certain players speak out that they want to become champions. Other players stating like it's a bit far-fetched. We're not the favorites, so they trying to become the underdog. I don't think it's really giving some additional pressure to the players. I mean, it's a bit of bluff poker. I mean, he wants to get all the attention to remove the attention from the players, and that's what a coach is supposed to do, like a father.
Yeah, no, good point. EyeJax, before I go to Yaiderenko, any questions? Maybe we can address it to Yaiderenko as well.
Yeah, there are some questions about the World Cup, but other teams.
Sure.
Luis was asking if we are. Oh, this is the wrong one. This one. That England must have impressed us guys. So
yeah.
Honestly, I didn't watch the game because I was working, so I just saw the score. So I'm sorry, I cannot answer that.
Yeah, I've seen the game. I mean, I was working and watching.
Oh.
Yeah, I have that.
I can multitask like you.
I have that luxury. But no, they impressed me. They impressed me a lot. I mean, I don't know if it had to do with Iran being playing that bad, but they were great. I mean, Saka, lovely player, but I'm really impressed with Jude Bellingham.
Yeah,
that man can play ball, and that boy can play ball. Not even a man. He's so young.
He's 19, right?
He's 19, and he's already playing. He played more than 100 matches for Dortmund, and yeah, he's a true leader in midfield and a really box-to-box player, and I'm really impressed.
I remember when we played them, even though we won that game. You remember the away game in Dortmund?
Yeah.
They got a red card, and then we turned things around. But I remember Bellingham; he was really good.
Yeah. So it's the
but
youngsters who carry the team of England.
I have to give a side note here, though. Iran, with all due respect, they were terrible. One of the worst teams I've seen so far in the World Cup. And still, they were able to break the defense twice. They scored 2 goals. So
I know where you're going.
No. So quick. No, not
Harry Maguire.
Not going Harry Maguire. No, but you have to do some quick maths here. You know, it's one of the worst teams I've seen so far within the World Cup. So that gives you a lot of more scoring opportunities, explaining why they maybe were able to score 6. But still, that team still scored twice. So there's something wrong with the defense if that team that was poor, very poor, can score twice against you. So I would love to see what they do against a stronger opponent to give my final verdict of how impressed I am with England.
It's probably lack of concentration. I mean, if you're up 3-0, 4-0, you want to excel in scoring more and more, and then you get and then you lose concentration. I think that's basically it, in my view.
Yeah, let me ask 2 questions to you guys, and then we'll finalize or top off with the chats, and that will be the end of the show. Yaiderenko, the Ajax boys, we call them the Ajax boys in the orange team. The ones that did play, against Senegal. A couple were starters. Klaassen came in, had the goal. Your opinion on their performance, one by one?
Do you know all the starters?
No, I don't.
Let me help you. Yeah.
Bergwijn was almost invisible, just like at Ajax. Klaassen made a goal and now thinks he's eligible to be a starter. Don't know what's happening there, but
come on, be fair. That's not what he said. He said he always. I mean, every player wants to be a starter. The question was
no. The thing he said exactly was, I have the feeling I'm very close to being a starter.
Yeah,
something like that.
But you, as a player, you have to clinch on these kind of things. You have to.
Yeah, we don't have to speak out that way.
Why? No, but I don't agree. An athlete has to show confidence.
But in all fairness towards Klaassen, he was there at that position at the right time to flick in that
but how many times?
That is a quality. That is a quality too. So well done by him.
Yeah, he's the best player.
Yeah. So Yaiderenko, the first name I missed it. Did you say we didn't see Bergwijn or we didn't see Berghuis? Which one was it?
Bergwijn.
And what was your opinion on Berghuis on the midfield next to Frenkie?
I think it was all a bit bland. I think it was sloppy. I think it wasn't his level as he showed with Ajax. But he definitely wasn't the worst, in my opinion. I think. To be honest, I don't understand why we play this defensively, but
yeah,
it's the same with Ajax. I just don't understand that. If you look at Canada, I think it's a perfect example, and you cannot always accomplish that, but you make it so hard for an opponent to breathe and to get their shit together. And if you're in that game, remember Real Madrid, if you're in that game and they have it difficult, they're not gonna outplay you anymore. So you can keep going. And I think that's the strength of Ajax. I think that's the strength of the Dutch football in a broader perspective. But we've seemed to lost that intention.
Sahbi, today's conference with Van Gaal, he talked about the next game tomorrow against Ecuador. He said that Ecuador is basically a more intelligent, more organized team than Senegal. Do you agree?
Yeah, partially. I mean, they're more clinical up front. They have a great striker. Hopefully, he will not play tomorrow, but because he was
Valencia.
injured in Valencia, in that Ener Valencia, and they can play really like compact, close to each other, so they don't give a lot of space, and it can favor the Dutch squad if they play behind their defense. With through balls, but it's going to be difficult. And luckily, we have won the first game, because otherwise, it will be very difficult for us.
Yeah, pressure would be on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just like because the pressure which Germany now has,
Going into Spain,
going to Spain, needing to win that, because Japan will probably win from Costa Rica.
Yeah. We're in a good position right now. I read also, or I heard also, that Ecuador already has 7 consecutive clean sheets, so that's impressive as well.
Yeah.
EyeJax.
But all has to take into consideration which opponents did they face, because
they didn't face bad opponents, to be honest.
No, but big ones, like major ones, or just one lower tier teams, with all due respect.
Well, to be honest, they also play qualifying, right, in South America. They're not bad teams, to be honest. So I think it doesn't say the whole story. I agree with you, but it does say something. I think they're well organized, and even Van Gaal said it, as I touched upon. EyeJax, let's finish with the comments.
Yes.
How many likes do we have, by the way?
It's difficult for me to see, but
around 20, I think.
I think around 20 or something.
20 likes. Could be better. Could be better. We don't have a lot of people, but maybe because of Brazil starting in the bit. So
So let's try to wrap it up with some questions. Or maybe some opinions.
I saw Good Morning Rick in Australia.
I want to highlight our buddy Rick from Australia. Unfortunately, they were not able to upset France yesterday, although they scored early, and I thought that was quite a possibility to do something great. But unfortunately, sorry.
No, it was a nice goal.
It was a nice goal. It was a nice goal. So unfortunately, they weren't able to scrape some points. So good morning to you also. It's very early for him down under. Let me check. There's a question from Lewis. Do you guys follow other nations other than the Netherlands?
Okay, let's do a round. Yaiderenko, which nations do you prefer or do you follow if you have a chance?
I look at everything, and I follow what I like. So I like Canada. I like Spain. I obviously like Argentina because of the whole Messi saga, or who knows what happens.
Sahbi?
I mean, besides the Netherlands, of course, Morocco, and Argentina, mainly because of good old Messi.
All right. EyeJax, how about you?
Yeah, I'm more of a guy that's Netherlands all the way. So I watch a lot of other teams, and I obviously want our boys of Ajax to do well when they play. So I'm trying to support those teams. So I will be rooting for, of course, our captain tonight. Hopefully they can upset, although I know you like Brazil, but hopefully he can upset them with a nice score. And I do like some teams losing points. I love the Germans not winning yesterday. That made my day. So that's always nice. But for me, it's all about which team do I like, what kind of attitude they showed during the tournament. And then I will have some favorites during the tournament. But I do not have a second team like Sahbi has. For me, it's Netherlands all the way. And then just the team I like, the way they play, the way they perform within the tournament.
Yeah. All right. What else do you have for us? Questions, comments?
Let me check. Do you think now to talk about one of our boys, Edson, and Sanchez playing for Mexico? If we think that they have a chance against Argentina?
Can I go with this?
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I lived in Mexico for a year because of my studies, and of course I'm supporting them a little bit. They got into my heart, and I appreciate them a lot. I saw the first game, but I thought Mexico was very active, very energetic as well. But I do feel they lack a creative player, and the disadvantage that they have is that Corona is injured. He would have been a very critical player next to Lozano, and now a lot is happening through Lozano, through the sides, also Gallardo on the left side. But Argentina will be nervous going into this game. They don't have points. They need to win. I think maybe it will benefit Mexico as well. And I think maybe they should reconsider the striking position. Maybe start with Jimenez. So that's my opinion.
I think that's a good opinion, Juan. Sivan saying, really enjoyed the stream, guys. Big up. Big up.
Thank you. Thank you. About the stream, by the way, maybe for our viewers to know, and also the people that will watch later. So as of next week, we will start at 8 o'clock, still on Thursday. But we will continue 1 hour later, which will be best for us and also maybe for other viewers as well, because 7 o'clock is a bit early, but we did it because of the World Cup situation.
Yeah, then another remark from kind order. Our brother KG from United View said that Ronaldo is free to join Ajax. So what say you?
Sure. 350 million in 2 years? Sure.
No. It doesn't fit the Ajax philosophy either. So
it's like what Vincent Kompany said. We need players that want to run.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Anything else? That's about it, Juan. I think we handled most of the questions. Of course, we cannot handle them all because we had to move on to the World Cup topic. Yeah. But I love the engagement of all the viewers. Love you guys dropping some questions, being here. So thank you a lot for that. And I think last words of you, Juan.
Yeah. So thank you all for being here, for engaging with us. Again, this is very important. We really like engaging with you guys. Yaiderenko, thank you for joining last minute. Thank you for that, and don't get too upset about the joke earlier. It's okay if you're 2 minutes late, man. No worries.
You all broke my heart. You all broke my heart.
Sorry. Sahbi, EyeJax, thank you guys. Shout out to everyone. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, like. We appreciate it a lot, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.